G'day guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, hi, my name is Jackson. I'm a dietitian in Brisbane, Australia. Lovely to meet you. I have a keen interest in strength sports and nutrition for the same, performance nutrition, anything where you need your brain or your body to be working at levels that maybe once we thought wasn't possible. Think about the high output individual working crazy amount of hours. Think about the elite athlete. Think about the recreational athlete, and also who happens to be the career professional. If that is you, or if you're a little bit like that, or even if you're not, you're always welcome on our channel here, because we're talking about nutrition, and nutrition is relevant to everybody that is alive and also who likes food. It's kind of important. Anyway, the basics of nutrition. We separate those into two categories, or at least I do. Number one, regularity of meal times, and number two, adequate intake. Now, number one being regularity of meal times is the most important, because you can't get number two without consistently doing number one. I mean that strictly from a category perspective, not from an evacuation of a bowels or voiding of bladder perspective. Stop that. Now, when we're talking about regularity of meal times, that purely means eating throughout the day and consistently doing that for the rest of your life. It is not a matter of only having X amount before the middle of the day and X amount after the middle of the day, or it's removing your breakfast and only having lunch and dinner and eating between a certain window. None of that shit. It's all just techniques at the end of the day. But what we need is consistency. And with consistency and regularity, we get good results long term. We know that over-restriction or an abundance of nutrition can lead to essentially every single chronic disease known to man. When we have a regularity of meal times, that can look like something in the morning, something around midday, something in the evening. It can also look like snacks in between those, depending on the amount of food that you need for whatever goal you have or whatever body you're in, whatever it is that you want to do. Now, number two, adequate intake. This is really important because it's broken down into many different categories. Adequate energy, and we can usually use something like a total daily energy expenditure calculator to figure that out. Protein, carbohydrates, fiber, fluids, micronutrients, fats, all the stuff, your macros, your micros, all that good stuff. Now, I'm going to do a video for each of these individually, but to give you the quick little summary of what adequate intake actually means. For example, if your goal is to build strength, the ideal situation for you to build strength is whilst in a slight calorie surplus, meaning an energy intake that is slightly above what your body is burning at rest and also during exercise, because in a surplus, it provides enough energy when also you pair that with enough total protein to build muscle, therefore to build strength. Okay? You can still build strength in a maintenance, and also maintenance changes every single day. So it's quite hard to find out what maintenance is, and it's really unwise to only use a calculator. We need to go off how you're feeling, off measurements like weight, for example, food diaries, all that good stuff. Very important that we take as many measurements as possible, and that is with most things in life, okay? So we've got adequate intake of energy. Now, for adequate protein, we need to talk potentially 1.6 grams per kilo, maybe a little bit more, upwards towards 2.2 grams of protein per body weight kilo. That provides enough in terms of your protein to break down into your amino acids to then reform those muscle fibers after a strength session to then grow and to become nice and strong and big and sexy. Now, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates have been feared for many, many years, decades. And I will also be doing a video talking about the history of diet fads and trends, which it actually sickens me to think about that, because I'll have to do some research. I've got a decent idea of what happened in history. Things like the cabbage soup diet. Oh, fuck. I won't get into it because I'll just get angry. And yeah, anyway, a lot of people have been taken advantage of and have lived lives where they haven't been able to truly love themselves because of shit they read in magazines and now shit they see on social media. Anyway, besides the point, we'll talk about that in a separate video. Adequate carbohydrates is so important for any exercise or anything, any output that is above a moderate intensity, because fat cannot be used as fuel efficiently enough in a quick enough time span. Fat oxidation is great for below moderate intensities. We call that zone 2 and below. That could look like walking whilst maintaining a conversation at this sort of pace, even though I talk extremely fast. Sorry about that. Maybe it's on 0.5 speed, the video, but anywho. So to work out adequate carbohydrates, really, we just need to figure out what your goal is. Potentially anywhere from 3 to 6 grams per kilo could be appropriate, probably more for the larger bodied individuals, and potentially even more on top of that, depending on your status in your sport, whether you are, amateur all the way up to elite or professional, whatever. Very important. Then things like fats, important for brain health, joint health, hormone function. We need a certain amount of body fat, for example, for hormone function. Fiber, whilst technically isn't, required for survival. Colon cancer is the biggest killer in young people in the Western world right now, next to, mental health related concerns, which I can't say on YouTube. Look, just because you don't need it doesn't mean it's not important. Anywho, fluids. Fluid processes fiber. Fluid is important for hydration. Fluid is the essentials of life. And we're aiming for around 30 mils per kilo. That's quite appropriate. So for example, for a 100 kilo male, looking at about 3 liters per day. Micronutrients, there's so many different recommended daily intakes for those. In Australia, you can find them online. If you type in nrv.gov, you'll be able to see those. Everything from iron to your vitamins to zinc to all the stuff. What I like to say as a general rule of thumb is if you are rotating your proteins and rotating your fruits and vegetables, there is a good chance that you will be meeting a lot of those requirements. It doesn't need to be a matter of you logging food constantly or tracking everything or whatever. But in the long term, if you are rotating the types of proteins, i.e. switching from pork to chicken to tofu to beef, XYZ, and then also your veggies, changing your greens, changing your reds and your oranges and all that sort of stuff, then also changing your fruits, that is how we can cover quite a lot. Okay, so those are the basics. We're talking regularity of meal times, so eating throughout the day, doing that consistently for the rest of your life, and meeting an adequate intake of things like energy, protein, carbs, fats, fiber, fluid, and your micronutrients. As I said, we're going to go into detail on this in separate videos for each different topic, but that's the basics. Cheers.